You tend to attract people that shouldn't be in the front, though.
Me?
Yeah.
It's
You're
because
like
I
a magnet for those people that shouldn't be in the front. They just
What are
come
you
to
trying
come
to
see
say,
the
Maverick?
show.
Are you saying
I'm
that he
like,
should be in the front either?
I think that's what he's
No,
saying.
he should be
I'm the
there, but
sleeper.
I don't know what
I
it
look
is.
like I
Like
shouldn't
maybe
be.
the way he approaches, they're like, well, if this guy's here, then I'm gonna stand next to him.
I am usually pretty nonchalant. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm the guy at
You're
the
not
front of the line that's just kind of waiting.
you
So,
don't look as intense as some of the other people.
Exactly.
Running with Maverick and Wolfman. Hey guys, welcome back. We got a big episode.
Really big. Wolfman here.
Maverick here.
Don't forget to find us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and of course YouTube.
Subscribe.
Big one. Subscribe, like the Mav Man said. Hit the little bell so you know when we release great content like this and anything else we might release, which will also be great.
Of course. Absolutely.
Our guest tonight has accomplished many Spartans. He is currently ranked 13 in the nation for men aged 45 to 49.
What?
He has one or two more races in this series to go for the year. He ran and operated his own personal business for 16 years and has been married for 21 years. Jake.
Here we go. Welcome, Jake.
what's up, fellas? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Excellent.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you want to start, Mav, or you want me to start?
Yeah, Wolfman just said that you're ranked in the Spartan division, or I'm sorry, what was it, Wolfman?
The Spartan race series.
Yeah, it's an age group race series they're doing. Yes, sir.
So how'd you get into Spartans?
A silly mistake quite a while ago. I don't know. It's got me hooked on it, and I definitely enjoy them. It mixes up the running and exercising. But I had a couple buddies that asked me to do one, and we did. Just a warrior dash, which was kind of like a good beginner obstacle course race, and then we transitioned to a Spartan the year later after that, and we went to Palmerton, which is down in Allentown, which is a close one, and it's supposed to actually, it's the hardest 10K in the country for Spartan racing. And those guys asked me if we want to go down there and do the 5K. And I'm like, I'm not driving 2.5 hours to do a 5K race. Like, if we're going to do it, let's do the 10K. And then I found out later on how much harder that one is. So that was a good experience, fun. And that ever since then just got me hooked and racing for a little while, and definitely gone to the next level this year compared to what I have in the past.
So like, how do you prepare for one of those? Like, what do you do exactly?
So I figured that was going to be one of the questions. So I just kind of took a mental note of what my day-to-day training and what my day tomorrow of training is like. So before I went to work this morning, I did like just a 35-40 minute circuit of, it was pull-ups and hangs and dumbbell carries, like farmer carries and plate carries, and it's 30-second breaks in between, and it probably consisted of overall, I mean, hanging for in those 35-36 minutes, whatever it was, probably hanging of 5 minutes, probably 60 to 70 pull-ups, So that was my morning workout before going to work, and then tonight I did hill sprints, which was like an 80%, not quite a sprint, but an 80% elevation climb. So that was pretty good. And then tomorrow I go back at it and do some stair climbing with weighted vest on in the morning for a half hour, and then transition to just like a slower hike tomorrow afternoon after work. So.
Wow. So
yeah, go ahead.
For those that don't know, what all does a Spartan entail? Like, even I know it's more than just running, but what all is in it? Why those things to prepare?
Yeah, so if you do a 5K, the 5K is, obviously 3 miles. Most people who are probably following us would understand that part of it. But then there's 25 obstacles mixed in. The 10K is called their super. Their 5K is called the sprint. The super is a 10K, and then that has 30 obstacles. And then not the longest one. There's the beast, which is like, we'll go into like a trifecta. Is those three? If you do those three, it's considered a trifecta accomplishment for the year. If you do one of those three, so there's a couple things I'm also looking at towards the end of the year after the series is over to play around with. So these obstacles are a lot of monkey bars and cargo nets, A-frame, and it's rings, and so you're trying to sprint, go as fast as you can, but at the same time you're hitting an obstacle, and then you're coming off of that, and one of them is a 1/4 mile sandbag carry that's 80 pounds, or another one's a 1/4 mile in a race that you have to carry a bucket filled with stones. So it's not just running. I know a lot of you. I've listened to your guys' podcast in the past, and you guys really hit the mileage. I can't. I just, it's long. I have a buddy I run with. I mean, in the summertime when I'm gonna train for one of the longer Spartans, a 12-mile run just seems like it takes forever.
It does.
So I like to mix it up. It makes it fun. I mean, I still have to do a lot of running in order to try to do well. But
wow. Now, have you done one of the beasts already, or no?
I did. Last year, for some reason, I talked a little bit before about that knee surgery that I had the year before, but I did the hardest 10K. It was in Palmerton last year, and I did the hardest beast, which was Killington, Vermont, which was, 7,000 feet of elevation climb, and,
wow,
12 miles. I think actually it was closer to 14 miles, but yeah. So that was.
I mean, it almost seems like a running race meets a ninja course along with like CrossFit.
Pretty much, yeah. It's
Okay.
all the above. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, that's pretty good. So I'm trying to, after this age group race series, my goal this year has been to rank in the top 10, but it's been a wake up call. So starting out in 13, it was a little bit lower than I was hoping. But now I'm starting to make some goals this year where I want to do, like they call it, a trifecta weekend, where you have Saturday and Sunday to do a 5K, 10K, and a half marathon one. So you do that in 2 days. So that would be pretty tough. Wow. And I'm also starting to look at, they have an ultra that they do too. So 30 miles and 60 obstacles. And it doesn't sound like, for you guys, just to run wise, you have to start pretty early to get done by dark, especially depending which one you do. The one up in Killington is 14,000 feet of elevation and that mileage. So it's pretty grueling, pretty tough, but we'll see.
What's the time frame that they give you before they pull you off the course?
I would have to look more in the ultra. I haven't looked all into it. I just know, I feel like I've been starting to look at it maybe the last couple of weeks, just because of where my training's at and what I want to accomplish. And then that would be like post race series. I keep trying not to throw too much extra stuff in, because the series is my A races this year, so I don't want to do something else that's not going to possible injury or just not. But then I'm also looking at, as I'm going to be in the best shape that I should be in to do one. So when the series is over, I won't mind jumping on.
Now, what do you have to do anything to, when you sign up for these, to say yes, I can do it, or are they just, you sign a waiver, kind of like you do with a marathon, and you say, yep, I'm fit enough to do it, and they trust that you're telling the truth?
They do, but there's different. So there's open heats. I kind of look at some statistics just so I could kind of tell you the difference between when I was doing open heats before, and that's kind of like where it's kind of comparing it. It's like a 5K with someone pushing a stroller. You know, you have a little mix of all the types of running. So that's the open, and then they've always done open. Then they did age group, and then they did the elite runners. Well, this year they decided to combine the age group and elite runners. So if you're open, there's a ton of people, but if you're running in the age group or that, it's definitely a lot tougher. Try to figure out where I did the one race not so long ago that ranked me 13th, but if I would have ran in the open, I would have been 11th out of 944 people. But instead, in the age group and the elite series, overall out of all people, it's like 97th out of 282. So that was kind of like a wake up call, a little slap in the face at the beginning of the year. I was like, man, like I really am going against the top notch guys this year. And it, kind of gives you a little edge. You got to, make sure you have, you're giving your all and you're training hard. So.
And then do they take each one that you complete and kind of compile your overall results for how you're ranked?
Yeah, so that one, the first one starts off as the 5K. This is in Florida. The 10K is here on the 20th, I think. It's a couple weeks out, 2 weeks from this weekend. That's in California, Big Bear. And then they have July is Utah, which then goes up to the Beast. So that's the half marathon one. So you have one of each distance. And then depending upon how well you do, you can qualify for a finals race. That's in Seattle at the end of the year. So awesome. Hopefully that all goes well. Hopefully I'm hitting Seattle by the end of the year. We'll see.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, that'll be great. So what was what'd you do to work out prior to getting into these kind of races?
So I would go in and out of running, working out, and I just, like most people, I would work out hard for 6 months and I would be hurt for 3 to 6 months, and I would work out for 6 months and then I would get hurt. And, and I went into that aspect that I think most people do. One of my group that I work out was Primal Fitness. And one of our sayings is go slow to go fast. And I preach it all the time, especially to the young kids when they're in the gyms and stuff. It's like, you can't start out, going full bore. I always did that. I was down that path for a while, but, really what got me working out to begin with is I was considered pre-diabetic about 10 years ago. So I was on metformin a couple times a day for, 2 or 3 years. And so I've got my diet down. I've got my exercising down. I haven't been on anything for a while. So hopefully I can kick that can down the road for a while.
Yeah, that's great. It's great. Yeah, it's a lot of people don't realize how much exercise makes a difference in that, your blood glucose levels in your heart, pre-diabetic, diabetic, it doesn't matter. You gotta work out and exercise, take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right. For sure. Yeah, I preach it all the time, but yeah, it's a life choice, and it's not easy, but yeah.
You can't make people listen.
Right? Yeah.
So what keeps you going? What motivates you in the morning to get out there and do it?
This year it's the series races doing, I want to do well. My goal is top 10. I'm hoping that, I can just see where I'm at, see in comparison to other ones. Here's a little pet peeve of mine. I'll tell you about the whole Spartan thing. So I'm 44 years old. So, but because my birthday is December 21st, they put me in the 45. So it's how old you're going to be at the end of the year. So even though the series is over in July, so I would be ranked 7th in the 40 to 44. Doesn't it sound backwards? But then from 45 to 49. But yeah, so I'm looking, there's a guy that I follow quite a bit. He's like the top notch guy in my age group. And, at a race last weekend, there was 3 out of, he got 3rd place in our age group, but overall that was like 7th. So the top 3 in our age group placed in the top 7 of all finishers in the race. And it's just crazy how there's one sport that you can, you can't play football and be, injury free and fine forever. But it seems like running wise, just people just get stronger and faster for a while past the, past what you would think the prime would be.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So you had one guy in here just a couple weeks ago, the guy that bicycler guy there. He's and Hakes, I actually ran with him here a couple weeks ago at one of the local races. That was fun too. So
yeah, he just completed an ultra, got second in like a 30-mile. Was that what you did with him?
No.
Yeah.
No, we didn't do that with him. We just did the Eagle Run. I was right in Tawanda.
Oh,
Hakes there.
yeah.
So my brother was cheering him on to beat me. So it's the support I get there. So
yeah, like last
brothers will do
weekend or
that.
so, he did
Right?
like a 30-mile thing and got second place overall.
Wow, that's phenomenal. That's great.
Yeah.
I like to see the local guys doing well. It's fun to meet them. You got a couple of the older guys, John Johnson there. He's I don't know if you know him. I'm sure you do, but
I know of him. Yeah. I gotta track him down.
You had Gary on a little bit ago. He's a local stud. Those guys.
He's a trip, that guy.
Yeah. So you guys should. There's a local Spartan race coming up in June, not too far away from us. It's up in Bethel Woods. If you're ever interested in trying one out, there's a 10K and a 5K one. But
they sound like they're up Maverick's alley. I don't know about me.
No, can't.
Yeah, the pull-up thing sounds great.
I'm working on beating Mark Wahlberg. Unofficial challenge number 3.
He's so close. So close.
Yeah. But I'm going to do, there's the first year they're doing the 10K up there. I'm going to do that one on a Saturday. And then Sunday, I'm hoping to run with, just get a few local people that have been talking about going from the gym and going and just do a fun one and enjoy ourselves. And anybody wants to try it for the first time.
What's the time frame? Like what do people take to complete a 5K in this? Like what's the range of times that people will hit?
So mine that I did would have been a good ranking wise. It was 40 minutes and 13 seconds.
Okay. What's a crappy time? Like what's a slow time?
Well, now you're putting me on a spot because if I say a number out there and someone's like, "Well, that was my time,"
Exactly.
I would just say an hour. An hour. I think most people would do it an hour.
Yeah, because you're getting usually like decently fit people too, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not getting. Yeah, that's what I figured.
Because
everyone that I know that
there's no strollers getting pushed. All right, there's not.
Right. Yeah, like everyone that I know that's done one is pretty fit. Like I don't know anyone that was like, oh yeah, I was not working out at all and I just jumped in this thing on the weekend.
Yeah, you see a little bit of that, but not a lot. No,
not much. Yeah.
I mean, every obstacle you fail, you got to run an extra quarter mile. So depending on how many obstacles.
Oh, really?
Hey, that'll be our strategy. We'll just fail everything and just run more.
Just run more, right? Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It used to be burpees. So they had fail an obstacle, you had to do 30 burpees. Now so they're talking about putting obstacle course racing in the Olympics. So it's been in the process.
That'd be pretty wild.
So they're trying to. It was hard to monitor the burpees, harder anyway. So if someone failed an obstacle, you could say, okay, there you go, you got to run that loop. It was easier to monitor that. So that's why I feel like they're transitioning to that aspect of it.
Yeah,
that's interesting. That's interesting. I mean, I think that deserves to be in there more than poker. So,
oh, come on.
I said it.
That's most of our audience.
Right?
Poker players
in Vegas.
My brother-in-law is never listening again.
That's it. Done.
Right.
So, Jake, how did you balance a business and this training?
Well,
what is the business first?
So I had a business. I had it for 16 years. I had a bed and breakfast in Tawanda, and I just sold that last May. So my free time there was, I would get up and make everybody breakfast, but then my free time was generally from 10 until 2. So then I would work out during those hours. So now I just had to kind of shift my workout hours a little bit differently than before. But I don't know. Maybe that's why I've gone a direction I haven't got more serious and putting more time in, and I can now. So it's definitely make my workout a big priority in my life.
So how do you balance it now? You said you have to shift it around a little bit. How do you balance it now?
Yeah, I don't get those 10 to 2 hours anymore. It was, I was at the gym by, I don't know, just before 7 o'clock this morning, so I could do my first workout, and then, I ran like an hour ago, maybe an hour and a half ago. So, yeah.
Gotcha.
So, you got to just fit the workouts in wherever you can.
Exactly. And, and sometimes you can't get 100% of your workout in that you want to do, but if something is better than nothing. That's what I tell people. So.
Absolutely. That's great advice. If you could work out for 10 minutes and do that 3 times in the day, that's better than not working out just because you don't get the full half hour right away.
Right.
So it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes I'm out there just sprinting, like, oh, I just got to run something because I have no time at all.
Right. How old are you, Maverick?
I'm 39.
Yeah. Okay. So you're a little bit behind me, but not. Yeah. So those sprinting days, you try to minimize those as you get to be a little bit older. You might want to only do those sprints once a week as opposed to.
Yeah. Like even when we're out, like with the kids, we go somewhere like to a park or whatever. I'm doing pull-ups, and I'm like, oh, let's just see what I can do a pull-up on here. How many can I get in? It's baseball practice. Oh, let's get some pull-ups. I'll run around the field, whatever I can do. It doesn't always work out perfectly, but it works out to some degree.
Well, let's try to give you a Spartan test. So how many pull-ups can you do, Maverick?
I can't do it right now, but my record was 20 straight. Like no cheating, no kipping.
Okay, that's good.
But I'm not there right now. Like I could probably do sets at like about 6 to 8.
You're going in June with me, Bethel. There it is.
Well, we got to get Wolfman's up a little bit. He's challenging Mark Wahlberg. So I mean, it's going to be.
We're working on it.
Yeah. So what do you have a record? Have you tried for a record for those or no?
So my record with a little bit of a swing was 31. So the last time I did it, I felt like I was much stricter, and I was at 28. So
what's your background? What were you like? Were you an athlete or?
I was one of those social athletes in high school wise, like what my friends were doing. I would, throw the jab, or I might run a little bit, or I might, I don't know. Yeah. But nothing, I would say nothing too serious really in high school was.
Got it.
It's kind of just when they, when I went to the doctors and she was like, oh, I think you're going to be diabetic. And so then I was like, well, I don't need pills. I'll just stop my energy drinks for this year. And I went back and she's like 100% diabetic. So I'm giving you the pills. And I'm like, so that was kind of like you need to get your crap together. You're getting older. You can't, get up and eat a piece of pie for breakfast most days and stuff. So so.
Doesn't that suck?
Yeah. Pie for breakfast is good.
Right.
Oh yeah.
That's my like hunting season breakfast right there.
Right. Yeah.
So. The other day, my son was up. He was eating like I don't know, like one of those like push pops or whatever. It was like 6 in the morning. I'm like, what are you doing? It's 6. You can't be eating a push pop. I was like, go eat something substantial.
Right. But if you can ever get away with it, it's when you're 6.
That's true.
Yeah. But
sometimes it's like, where did they get that from? I didn't even know we had those. Where'd you get that?
Oh yeah, leftover, right?
Yeah.
We found this Halloween candy.
Yeah. That's a big thing for me that I've done is diet wise too. I'm very strict in my diet. I don't know, a little anal on that. I'm trying to keep it right where I try to stay at 140 is my weight wise. When I race, I like to be down to like 136, 137. So like I'm very, very particular.
So you know what your weight should be at.
Yeah.
So then what was you, do you mind, like, what was your weight up to? Like, what was your high end?
Highest ever was 170.
Okay. And you were not like a trimmed up 170 though.
No.
Yeah.
No, I had, I had the occasional beverage or so, we'll say, and that kind of adds to the weight. And just.
Now, do you have like a dietitian, or you just have your own method? Like, how'd you do that?
Yeah. So again, going back to like my workout group, Primal. So it's the Primal diet wise is what they go by. So it's, just pretty much what you can grow, meats, cheeses, vegetables, just stay away from processed and, candies that I always loved. I used to, gobstoppers at the grocery store. I'd grab a box and eat it all on the way home.
Yeah.
I just was not under any self-control at one time. So, but yeah, so just, clean eating.
What's your pre-race meal?
The morning of or the night before or both?
let's do the morning of.
The morning of, I generally try to keep it. It seems light, but it's very carb heavy. I'll take heavy cream and I'll take blueberries and maple syrup, and then I'll just mix that kind of like just like a smoothie wise. So it's very high clean carbs that I have. But and then
And that sustains you for the whole race.
Well, I'll do my what are they? SIS little gels too. I don't know if you've seen those or not. I take those too during a race, and honey stingers. So generally in a longer race, I'll do probably every 30 to 45 minutes. I'll take a gel.
Okay.
So which makes it
like
tough.
Ultra.
So the age group race series that I'm in the age group. So you can't, whatever you take with you in a race, you have to consume it, or you can't like shed it. Like, so something as simple as like your shirt, you can't just throw it to the side. Like if you start with your shirt, you have to end with your shirt. Otherwise you're disqualified. So
yeah.
little rules like that, they try to be a little strict on. But so your gels and stuff, my first age group race, I was all nervous because I had 3 gels in my pocket and I was running around a corner. My zipper broke on my shorts and they all fell out. And I was like, oh, I'm going to run this race and I'm going to get disqualified right after that. So I had to like try to find them there. And yeah, it was
wow.
They just simple stuff that you're just like, you learn as you do more races. And
because that stuff happens. I mean, you drop them getting them. I've had them fall out of the belt before. I mean, it happens.
Yeah. I gotta look more into doing this ultra because it's what you do is you pack like a bucket and you can take this bucket at a certain spot. So like the first lap that you do, and then you transition. So then, and that before you go to the second lap to do the other part of the race, you have your bucket that, whatever you need, whether, I don't know, I've heard people, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or just anything like that they're, they're shoving in their bucket to have, but you have to take it and it sits there in that spot for you. And,
wow.
It'll be a little different, but we'll see what happens when I do with that.
Yeah, peanut butter kind of is slower to process. It kind of sticks to your inside, so it's a good one for longevity.
Yeah,
and it's pretty easy to process too. It's not like it's not hard on the stomach.
Right. Yeah. Have you guys done any of that during like long races? Have you done that, Maverick, or no?
I'm not an eater, so I tend to not eat anything because I don't like to cramp up. But I'm trying to get better at that so that when I do these longer runs, I'll be able to eat something without getting a side stitch.
Yeah.
Some of these races, like the Palmerton one and then the Killington one, Palmerton, the first 2 times I did it, I cramped. Like all I had to do was at the top of a hill. I just had to run down a hill by like 200 yards, jump a fire pit at the end that they have before the finish line. And I'm there laying at the top and I could not stand up. I'm moving my legs. I'm trying to get, and I'm just watching people pass me. And I'm like, I can't stand up. I just need to go just a little bit further. And literally, like I've never experienced that until a couple of these really hardcore races with the hills and stuff cramping can be tough.
Oh yeah. Like I would always get side stitches. It would just knot up. And then I found that if I didn't eat pretty much at all for hours beforehand and I didn't drink much, then I wouldn't get it. But in those days you're so fit that you don't need anything. You're just like an engine. You're just this like engine with arms and legs just kind of pumping through. So nowadays, but if I'm going to run 10, 12, miles legitimately hard, I may need something.
Right. Yeah.
I would recommend something.
Yeah, everyone's been recommending something, which
I kind of do what Jake does. About every 45 minutes or so, I have a gel pack, and then along the course, the Gatorades and stuff. But
yeah, I'm learning.
I ran a fun run with my brother last weekend, and he said that we had to stop at every water station, and there was a water station at 0.8 miles. He's like, "There's a water station." I'm like, "Really? Like you need one at 0.8 miles?" But
sure.
Yeah.
It's funny though, but when you run 5Ks, they'll have those things at like a half mile, and people will run over for a drink, and I'm like, they just got started.
Right. Yeah.
No kidding. I was in a 5K one time, and I was in with the lead group, and some guy got super upset because the first aid station water stop in a 5K was not set up. And I said to him, dude, 1, these are volunteers. 2, if you are that in need of a aid station right now, you should not be in the front of this race. And maybe
But
that was the wrong thing to
I lined
say.
up with the elites. I'm ready.
Oh man, I couldn't believe it. Like, he was giving them such a hard time about not being right, and I'm like, dude, they're volunteers, and if you're that in need, you do not belong up front.
Right.
I'm sorry.
You tend to attract people that shouldn't be in the front, though.
Me?
Yeah.
It's
You're
because
like a magnet for those people that shouldn't be in the front. They just
What
come
are you
to
trying
come
to
see
say,
the
Maverick?
photo.
Are you saying
I'm
that he
like,
should be in the front either?
I think that's what he's
No,
saying.
he should be
I'm
there,
a
but
sleeper.
I don't know what
I
it
look
is.
like I
Like
shouldn't
maybe
be.
the way he approaches, they're like, well, if this guy's here, then I'm gonna stand next to him.
I am usually pretty nonchalant. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm the guy at
You're
the
not
front of the line that's just kind of waiting.
you don't look as intense as some of the other people.
Exactly.
You're
So
like,
while we're on this
I'm
topic, I've noticed the difference between the different Spartan races. So open heats, everybody's like laughing and having a good time. Like I have certain like songs that I'll sing when we're running down the course, you know, and you go to the elite and like the age group series, I try to like throw a joke out there and like nobody cares. Like they do not like you're like I think they just want you to trip on a log and like stay in the weeds. Like the competition level is so much different, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, we've experienced that, you know. Like some people are pretty cool about it, some people are more relaxed, but usually when you get to those real high levels, people get really serious, and some people won't talk to you, they won't joke around.
Right.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Afterwards, people are usually a lot, more relaxed and
or at
usually
the
talk
start
to
line. That's what made me think of it. Because at the start line, people are, hey, where are you from? Hey, what are you doing? What races have you done this year? Where are you going next? Everybody will talk, but as soon as it starts, I mean, there's like hurdles that you have to go over that for a short guy sometimes can hurt, if you know what I'm saying. And I'm always like, oh, got it there. And I think it's funny. And nobody, sorry.
Yeah, I remember I was running in a race in the summer, and I lined up with this guy, and he looked fit. He was trim, tall, and it was 800. And he just started chit chatting with us, and I said, oh, what do you normally race? He's like, oh, this was my race, the 800. I'm like, oh, cool. What's your time? And it was like something sick, like a 140 something. And I'm like, you ran a 140 something? He's like, not now. He's like, I used to run that. I don't run that now. And I'm like, yeah, but that's like D1 scholarship. Like, that's a fast time. I'm like, you got to be able to run fast now. He's like, no. He's like, listen, man, I'm not in shape. I'm not running that kind of time now. So I started telling everybody, I'm like, this guy runs a 140 something. Don't run with him. He runs a 140 something. Yeah. And I'm like messing around with him because like we're in college shape. Like we're in good shape. And he could not hang though. He was just like, he tried to run like a 60-second first quarter opening up, and he just faded bad. But he wasn't in shape. He was right. Like he should never have said that. He should have just been like, oh no, I don't even know, like 230. Like he should have just made something up. But I heard 140 something, and I'm like, this guy's smoking fast.
Yeah, I think I ran in high school wise like a 56 was probably my best ever in the 400. So yeah you're really smoking it at 140. Like you're
yeah. It was like, it was funny though, because I'm like telling everybody, I'm like, this guy's gonna be going out really hard.
Yeah. So I was going to tell you one of my probably my least favorite obstacle right now. We'll call it Stairway to Sparta, which is a tough one. Like those climbing grips that you have to go across the wall. Like if you were like to, just up, or they have those challenges. They have one that they're high enough to where for me, a guy my size has to jump to grab two of them, then lift yourself up. So if you're 6 foot, it's not a problem. But at 5'6", it's a problem. So, yeah.
Now, is that like the pegs that move, you mean?
No, like, if you went to like a climbing wall, they had like those little shapes that are just kind of those. So you got to jump and grab them. And yeah, it's all finger strength. But I feel like that's the hardest.
So this doesn't. Couldn't do it. I lack the upper body strength. I got these little arms.
You can run the extra quarter mile without a problem though, Wolfman.
You can just put your feet on there and just use your legs.
Yeah, I'll just use my toes and climb up.
Yeah, your vibrams are so strong now. You put your feet from the vibrams.
Yeah.
So have you completed any other events or just the Spartans or?
So I've done I just did my 15th Spartan last weekend, so that's where I'm at with that. I'm probably going to be 6 to 8 more at least by the end of the year. Probably closer to 8.
So how often can you do those? Like every month or?
I did more. So I had 3 races this month. 2 of them were Spartans. One was faster paced though, and then the one this weekend was just kind of a cruise. Ran with my brother. I wanted to work on obstacles. So there's like a cargo net. So now it's my favorite because before you had to climb this cargo net across the top. Well, now I wanted to get it down. The only reason why I did this whole 10K this last weekend is because you get to the top of the cargo net, you can reach over, grab, and then you flip. And it doesn't sound like much, but it saves you probably 5 seconds. And I had an exact same time last race that I did there. I got beat at the end. They had the cargo net, and then you jump the fire. The fire is always the last one. So if I did the flip, I would have beat him because it would have saved me on the time. And so I did this whole race this last weekend just because I wanted to do the cargo flip, and then that's it.
Did you accomplish it?
I did. I did it twice. I actually did it, and then I went backwards to the course to do it again. I'm doing it again. I just want to do it, and now it's like one of my favorite obstacles because I'm like I can do that every time. Now I just was too scared to try it the first time, and now I'm excited for it. So.
What's your favorite obstacle then? The cargo net now?
It might be now. I like rings in the bars, so they have like different ones where you're either transferring from rings into bars to back to rings, and I just like that. I've always been able to do like it's kind of like a monkey bar as a kid. I can throw my body weight around pretty easily being a smaller guy, so I like those the best probably. Least favorite, Stairway to Sparta, the fire pits, that's the last one. So that's always good. It's always nice when you're finishing the race and that's the last thing to do and you're there. But, there's another one, ape hanger. That's an interesting one too. I could never do it. And I did the last 2 races where you have to climb a rope out of water. And then when you get to the top of the rope, then you have like a ladder chain that goes across, but as the chain goes, it gets higher. So you're climbing and reaching at the same time, and it goes. It's pretty long. I'm going to say Palmerton's is probably 30 feet, 25 feet. So you climb the rope up and then you take that ladder rope or the ladder chain across. It's tough.
Now is the Palmerton one the one on a ski resort or no?
It is Blue Mountain.
Yeah. Yes, I've heard of that one.
It's a tough one. That sandbag carry up the double black diamond is very exciting, very fun.
Yeah, I've heard that one is quite intense. That's the only one people have asked me to do, and I was like, why would I start with the hardest one? Why would I do that?
Because you do the dopey challenge.
Yeah, I did and got hooked. That's what got me hooked was doing the hard one first. So I don't know, but again. Closer is Bethel. It's right up the road. It's probably 2 hours from here. So Bethel Woods, you could do the little Woodstock museum afterwards. So
I think you should do it, Maverick.
40 minutes sounds pretty good.
Right?
Shorter than the 10 mile is going to be.
Probably. I mean, definitely. If we run 10 miles in 40 minutes, they're going to test our blood for sure.
Yeah.
Made a couple of turns here and there. Not right.
Yeah.
One time I had a guy that was arguing with me about how fast people could run. And it was kind of funny because he was like legitimately getting mad. And I wasn't mad. I was just having a conversation. But like this person in a race that we were in, they definitely did something wrong. They hit a time that was incredibly fast. And it was a time that a super elite could hit, but it wasn't a time that anybody in this race was going to hit, especially not like a young kid. Like he was maybe 17 or 18 or something. And I never heard of him. So I'm like, there's no way this kid's running this fast. Right. And basically he got caught that he didn't do the right course. And this guy was like arguing with me. He's like, well, no one could run that fast. No one could possibly run that fast. And I'm like, no, people could run that fast. People could run under 5 minutes per mile, for like 7 miles. Like it's possible. He's like, no, I'm a runner. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm a runner too. Like it's possible. Look it up.
Yeah. Like every marathon winner does that.
Yeah. But obviously this guy never watched a marathon
like
on TV. maybe in person, but not on TV.
That's funny.
Those Kenyans are fast.
There's,
you ever look up their training?
oh yeah,
Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of it. Yeah.
yeah. The thing about, especially like super elite runners, like people don't realize, like they didn't just start running yesterday. Like they've been running for like many, many years at high levels, and they get better and better, and they weigh less and less. Like if you look at pictures of them, a lot of times they're like getting skinnier and skinnier. Like how could anyone get skinnier than that? And there they go. They're skinnier than they were, 5 years before, and much faster.
Right? They're like lungs on legs. I mean, it's incredible.
There's the fact that what Usain Bolt, how many hours and years he put in to take off 1 second of his sprint time. It's nuts. Those guys are crazy.
Yeah, you have to be dedicated. But it's kind of like that with whatever you're doing, though. You have to dedicate time and effort, even in podcasting.
Right.
There's a quote by Usain Bolt, and it's something like, I trained for 2 years to run for, 100 meters, and people stop after 2 months because they don't see results.
Right.
Hey man, those 2 months are hard.
They are.
Sometimes
I know.
The hardest ones.
They are the hardest, right? The irony is that like that is the toughest thing you're going to go through is the beginning, and that's when people stop. It's like that's the worst part. You're already done with it.
Right.
Yeah.
You're done with the hardest part. Just keep going. You just got to keep, like you said in the marathon that one time. Just have to keep moving forward. You don't even have to run. Just keep moving forward, and you got this.
Yep.
That's it.
How many marathons have you guys done?
Me, none.
I've done 13. I'm signed up for 14 in October. So,
was Disney a marathon? Was it a full?
Part of it was, yeah. The last of the 4 races was a full marathon.
All right.
So that was number 13.
Okay, good for you.
Thank you.
But now you got to work on your upper body.
Yeah, now we need to get him to a Spartan, right? Just to fight.
Yeah. You got to get a couple more pull-ups in.
Maybe after a few more cycles of P90X, I'll do one.
You know what?
I'm more likely to do a Spartan than an ultra. Let's put it that way.
I don't know about that.
No, I think so.
You know what's funny though is that like some rock climbers are really, really thin. So there's hope for you that you can stay thin and get a lot stronger.
I'm working on it, man.
That's what I'm saying. I think you can get up there and not put the mass on though, because you don't want to bulk up. You're
right,
not trying to bulk up.
That is true. Trying to stay lean.
But that
I did that for a while. That's how I got started working out. I was actually trying to lift heavy for a while, and then I was like, I found Spartan, and I'm like, this is, I don't know, a good mix. You know, to be a little strong, be a little fast, and then mix the two together. And
a lot of those guys lean, or they're big guys.
No, they're pretty lean. You'll find both in the opens. You'll find both. You'll find anybody. You know, you'll find young. You'll find old. You'll find people dressed up. You never know what you're going to find in the opens. Like last weekend, there was 2 people. I don't know what they were trying to do. I don't know. They had these big costumes on, and I don't know. I saw one like a couple months ago. Somebody's carrying a couch there, and they're going through the obstacles in this group and trying to do the couch, and it was trying to prove that you should get off the couch. And I was like, I don't understand why you carry a couch through the course, and it proves that. But if that's what you want to do it. Have at it. You know, get some out there. So
yeah, it seems like in a lot of those kind of races, you have to be like really good at like calisthenics. So moving your body versus moving weight as much. I mean, moving weight's obviously part of it, but you still want to be able to move your body really well, so you have control and you know where you're at and how to get across things.
There is an 80-pound ball you have to carry for a little bit. That's tough.
Yeah,
that's moving weight. For me, it is because it's more than half my weight. So makes a difference.
Right.
Now, if you drop that, do you have to start back over, or you can just pick it up and keep going?
You can pick it up and keep going, but that's a lot of work picking up. That's the hardest part of it is picking it up. So don't drop it.
Yeah, you don't drop it. Why are you dropping it? Come on.
Yeah. Barbed wire fences. So they're, get low. You got that, Wolfman, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I'm more likely to do one of those than an ultra. Sorry, listeners. I wouldn't write either one off, but
whatever keeps you going to working out, what keeps you in shape, what keeps you healthy, what, everybody's got to have habits or whatever they want to do, and it's a healthy one. So it's just, yeah.
What are the prizes? What do you get for these things?
I mean, depends. You can look at it as a prize, but where I look at what you pay for a race, they give you a medal and a T-shirt at the end. Like everybody gets that. So,
right.
I think at the top of the elite, like at the end of the season and stuff, there is monetary values that you can win. But yeah, I stick with like the different medals. The trifecta medal would be a cool one. That's like when you do the 3 in the one weekend. It's a special medal for that, or an ultra. They're special medals. They're not just the average, but they are good. They're all good medals. Like if you feel them, like I don't know. I've done a lot of other races years ago that I would just kind of mess around with, and they'd be like those little, the size of a quarter or 50 cents. Yeah. These things are not like that at all.
I agree. A good medal at the end makes you feel like, yes,
right,
that money went somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
I like it. I like a Gatorade at the end.
Yeah. A banana and a Gatorade, you're good to go, right?
Maybe a cup of coffee. So what kind of footwear do you wear to something like this?
In general, I just wear trail shoes, Sauconys. I have those, but I also have. Generally, I run in Brooks. I did switch to New Balance for a short time, so depending upon where I'm running, what I'm doing. I think one of your guys' questions not so long ago is how many running shoes do you have? And I'm like 4. One pair because they're ugly. My wife bought them because they were cheap, but they were like this mint green, the same Brooks that I always wore, but they're like mint green. I'm like, I just can't do it. I felt like it was like that ice cream mint green color.
Yeah.
Like I just can't. So
Brooks has some pretty wild colors for their shoes.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely have a good mix of trail or running shoes. The trail shoes I generally, for the most part, only wear them when I'm racing. I do like to I want to hit up a Pisgah trail this weekend, so hopefully the weather holds out for us and I can do that. But it's hard. You add travel time, and on top of doing a hour and a half trail run. But,
good deal.
Yeah.
And then what's like? Is there like set uniforms? Like what's allowed? Like pretty much anything's allowed. There's no rules against anything. You can wear whatever you want.
Yeah. If you want to go in a Speedo, go right ahead. And there, Maverick, your first one, you can do it up.
No, thank you.
They're
cold, aren't they? Like, isn't there a part that's like cold? You're in mud and water and whatnot.
Yeah, there's definitely the dunk wall, which so you have to jump in the water, and it has like a floatable dam on it, and you have to go underneath that, so you're 100% submerged there in that one. You do have there's the one rolling mud where there's 3 pits right in a row, so you're in waist deep. They did some very creative thinking for that the Vermont one. So that Vermont one I ran with a couple of buddies, so I just because it's again a long race by yourself, so I ran with them for most of it, and then I left them at the end. But that was a 4.5 hour race with the hills there, and they put the water holes in the first mile. So you got to think of Killington in September, middle of September, and then 4.5 hours in the first mile you were soaking wet. Like I brought 2 extra pairs of socks because I could do that because it was an open heat, and I just threw away the other ones. But that made it very interesting. You can really do some damage to your feet when they're wet the whole time.
Yeah,
but that's why they make it the hardest one. That's why they do set them up like that purposely for if you want to say you did the hardest Spartan in the country, they want to make it the hardest one in the country. That's so.
Wow.
I'm trying not to scare Wolfman away, Maverick. Stop asking those questions.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to get prepared.
Right. I wouldn't start out with Killington if I were you, just to put it that way. I just that's not the one I would do to knock off your list of saying you did part. Unless I don't maybe if you're
get
crazy,
the most difficult one done. Start there.
Right. But then you might hate it and not do another one.
They put it in the name on purpose.
I think if I was going to do one, I would start with the short one because I tend to like shorter stuff anyway. So the 5K would be that'd be taxing enough, but then it would be done because it's the time, the dedication that's hard to get for me is the amount of time I'd have to put in for the prep. So, but yeah, Wolfman, maybe we'll do a 5K one. What do you think?
Maybe.
It's like running the steeple, but with mud. It'll be fine.
It's probably harder than the steeple.
Yeah, a little bit.
If you looked up some of them, though, some of the obstacles, like jump the fire at the end, like there's some simple ones. Like the steeple you're saying, you have a couple hurdle ones, a 4-foot wall and a 6-foot wall. You can, leap over those pretty easily. So I think you could do it.
Sounds fun.
I don't know if I don't think we're getting anywhere, Maverick.
I think he needs to work on his pull-ups.
That's how you do them.
You froze. I have no idea what you did.
I just move a bar up and down. I don't actually pull myself up.
That's now I understand.
It's like Goofy used to do in the cartoons. I just so other than the one in July, what's after Utah?
So I'm gonna have California in a couple weeks. Then I'm gonna do the one in Bethel in June. That's gonna be a back-to-back day for me, where I'm gonna do the 10K one on Saturday and 5K Sunday. And then I am looking at Utah. That's July, and then September's Killington again, and then possibly November down in South Carolina. I think if I'm going to do an ultra, I either want to go all out and do that one at Killington and do the hardest one, or I'm going to wait until November in South Carolina where it's a little flatter course. And I might save that one for the trifecta weekend to do those 3 all in 2 days. So not quite sure. Haven't just focusing right now on the series and just trying to see, how well I can do in that and where I can rank, and hopefully I can break that top 10 finish for the year. So it'd be pretty awesome.
Well, we'd love to hear how you do. Definitely.
Absolutely. I want to hear. Send some pics, videos, whatever, so we can see what's going on.
I've got some high goals, so we'll see what happens. Started out pretty high, shooting high for 10th from the start. So 13th is not too far off. I don't know if there'll be a couple people who don't go from Florida to California. I mean, it's the opposite side of the country. So, maybe I can move up a couple of easy ranks without by just showing up. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to give it my all.
It's nice when that happens.
Right, but I'm going to give it my all and see what I can do. It's definitely a little bit of a distance between February in Florida and then California in May. So I have had a good couple months to kind of work on speed and to work on the hills and the hill training. And it's going to be quite the elevation climb in the 6 miles in California. So it'll be fun.
Good.
Cool. Very good. Yeah, absolutely. Would love to hear about it. And we wish you the best. Good luck with everything. And thanks for sharing all your stories with us.
Yeah, man. Yeah. No problem. Yeah, I bet Wolfman, they're back a couple years ago now. So he was helped me out, put me in the right direction on how to get back on track. So I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, you're welcome. Is there a way people can find you if they want to reach out or follow or?
Yeah, I generally post my Facebook stuff. I posted on that just for my racing and how I'm doing and what I'm up to, and some training sessions. I haven't done that too much lately, but I like to. Like to post a video once in a while, just something that I thought of or I saw that I want to try, and it's crazy. So
awesome.
But yeah, I love the local guys doing something, so I like to support everyone else. So if anybody wants to cheer me on, I definitely greatly appreciate it.
Good.
Sweet.
Good.
Very good. Well, thanks so much. We appreciate it. And like I said, we look forward to hearing from you. Let us know how you do.
Sounds good. I appreciate it. And nice meeting you, Maverick. You have a great night, man.
You too, man. Take it easy.
Right, thanks.
See you, Jake. Thank you.
Yep.
Maverick and Wolfman running out. All right, guys. Remember to
subscribe on YouTube. Hit the little alert button so you know when we release new stuff. And don't forget to email us your comments and questions. That'll be below. Running with Maverick and Wolfman at yahoo.com.
All right, guys.